Okay. You're going to see me looking around a little bit just to make sure all this is a go. Okay.
You're your own tech person.
Yes, we're all our own everything right now.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us for the first installation of interviews, I think, for Manifesting Love and Light. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your quarantine or whatever it is you're doing right now to join us. We'll start with some introductions of who I am and who this lady is over here. First, I'm going to talk about what we're doing here. And I'll take about 2 minutes to sift that out. Being that this is really the first interview, if it's like the fifth one, then you're just getting a reminder of why we're here. Yeah. Okay. So this community was brought together. We started thinking about it literally a week ago. So what is today? The 20th?
20th, yeah.
March 20th. So it's Friday. It's like last Friday. I connected with Kim Lovejoy, who we've known each other through a few business endeavors of, I'm an acupuncturist and she's a somatic therapist, or I'm not quite sure how she identifies herself. Anyways, we've known each other for a while and we came together to collaborate on this idea of, we're going through COVID-19 right now. If you're watching this 5 years later, that's why this whole thing was put together. And Hannah and I were just talking off the recording how all the healers right now, all the people who are in healthcare are getting, not all, a lot, are getting these downloads and feeling this deep rooted sense and longing to share what we know, because we all understand that this is a virus and it's a repatterning. And so much of what, chiropractors know and acupuncturists and holistic therapists, and I can keep going for this entire call of all these healers, so much of what we know is going to be a big part of the medicine that's going to get us through this. I strongly believe that. And hopefully, this is our time to shine and to continue to live this way, even after this whole pandemic is over. So that's how this came about. Kim is the birth mother of this. And this is going to be, my baby is the recordings, where all the collaborators are coming together thinking, what is your strength? What is my strength? What can we do? And I know that personally, to get through things like this and any hard, strong emotion time, talking is so beneficial for me. So I know this is what I could offer. So that's the setup and why we're here. And now we'll start with introducing me, and then I'll introduce our guest here, Hannah. So as you can see, my name is Rachel Jensen. I'm a licensed acupuncturist in St. Paul, Minnesota. I have my master's in Chinese medicine, and I'm also an energy worker or / energy healer. So that's the way, acupuncture is my degree. It's the license that gives me the ability to treat people. And there's all these other things that I have learned to love and embrace, even during school. When I was in school 6 or so years ago, I realized that needles is one tool. There's all of these other tools that my eyes are opening up to, that I have such a passion to use to help other people heal. And my main focus is on spiritual and emotional balance and health, knowing that there's a thread of physicalness in all of that. I think that's all I wanted to tell you about me for now. Okay, let's go over to this side. I'm going to introduce Dr. Hannah Steinmetz. Did I say your last name?
Yep.
Awesome. So being that we're hitting the ground running with this whole endeavor, there hasn't been a lot of prep. There's been a sense of urgency to get information out to everybody because, you saw this in our first email out to everybody, that the sooner we can come together with all of our resources and identify what wounds were being shown, what patterns are we being shown, the sooner we can start our own healing. And I'm pretty sure everybody working on this project wholeheartedly believes that that's one of the reasons that we're in this pandemic right now, is to push pause on some things and to push fast forward maybe on some healing. So that being said, I didn't look over the website too much, is my point. But I'm just going to give you a few. I always like to introduce somebody so they can hear who they are from somebody else's mouth, because I know that that's very interesting. So Dr. Hannah, well, she's a chiropractor, first and foremost, yeah? And let me just read you a few passages from her website that when I was looking over this the past 10 minutes, really spoke to me. Let me find them real quick. Okay, her story. Number one, stories are so beautiful, and she has that on her website, and I love it. I'm going to speak as I'm Hannah. My passion for chiropractic began as a patient. When standard healthcare, antibiotics, and tubes didn't clear up my chronic childhood ear infection, my mom took me to a chiropractor for treatment. He explained that chiropractic could remove nervous system interference to allow my body to heal itself and function optimally. After a few visits, my ear infection subsided, and we placed our trust in chiropractic. In college, I decided that chiropractic was the perfect way to realize my dream of working within healthcare, while being able to naturally and holistically improve the well-being of those I encounter. And she goes on to explain what chiropractic means to her. But I'll let Hannah take that, and I want to just note her credentials. So she has her bachelor's in human biology from Northwestern Health Sciences. That's here in the Twin Cities. That's where I got my master's of acupuncture and Chinese medicine. She's a doctor of chiropractic, also from Northwestern Health Sciences. And she's certified in practices such as the activator technique, flexion, distraction technique, posture rehab, and rock taping. Okay, and before I give the mic to you, today we're talking, the reason Hannah is on is because we're starting this whole deal off with food, literally. Food. There was a mad dash this past few weeks to get food for possibly being quarantined in your house for the next few weeks. And the question of how do we stay healthy, let alone how do we take care of ourselves if we do get sick in our house, how can we prevent that from happening, right? So one of the main things we'll be talking about is how to boost your immunity, how to keep it strong with food and supplements, and a few other juicy tidbits that Hannah is going to share with us. I think she has a little bit more. Okay, Dr. Hannah.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for being here.
So glad to be here.
So I know the screen toggles back and forth to who's talking, and I want to keep it in one place rather than whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. So I'm going to let you talk.
For that.
Oh, is there?
Yeah. I'm trying to look here because I have mine where like you are just up and I'm a little thing in the.
Yeah, currently I see us both, but I'm green now.
Okay.
And then when you talk, you go green.
So you can switch in the top right, it'll say like there's different views. So you can do gallery view, speaker view. And so if you don't want it to move, I think if you just click over to gallery view or just click on where it says speaker view.
You know, I've never been able to find that. It's okay. We can leave this to where it is. Thank you for that, though. When we get off here, I'll probably be looking for it. No, I can't get rid of it. There we go. Okay, so yeah, I'll give this stage to you. Let the viewers know, yeah, who you are and what it feels like on your heart right now that you want to share with everybody.
Yeah, so like she said, my name is Dr. Hannah. I'm a chiropractor in Apple Valley, Minnesota, so like serve the South Metro pretty much. Yeah, it's been tough. Like Monday I was convinced, I'm closing, I'm shutting down, I'm closing, like that's the right thing to do. And then it was kind of placed on my heart that there's people that are still going to be in a lot of pain. And if they don't have a chiropractor, they're going to be tempted to go into the medical clinics and go into the hospitals and the ERs. And that just, I didn't feel comfortable with that. That worried me a lot. So I decided to stay open for acute patients. So there's been the like slow trickle of acute patients, and they have been like very thankful to have that place, which reassures me that like I feel that what's on my heart is the right thing, but also felt like now is the time to be flexible and to be agile as a healer, as a business owner, and to, like you said in the beginning, like we learn in school, like you learned acupuncture with needles, I learned chiropractic with my hands, like those were our primary, like that was like our entry into learning how to heal. But there are so many other ways to do it, and now is the time to like be exploring those. So what I recently offered to my patients are these, or to anybody really, are these telehealth sessions. And again, I never would have thought to do that if it wasn't for this situation. And I hope that that's something that's going to serve others and serve my business for years to come now. And it had to be innovated very quickly and had to learn by going and kind of stumble over it for a while very quickly in this moment because of what's happening here. And one of the options for those telehealth calls is a nutrition consult, because I know a lot of people have some time to think about that now, have some time to like check in with themselves, or those needs are being pushed to the surface more. If you had a little bit of stress, now you have a lot of stress. If you were eating kind of crappy, now you're eating really crappy. So there's definitely a need for people to talk through that. And that's one of those ways that like, I don't have to be in the same room as you. I don't have to have my hands on you for that healing to take place.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. There's so much in there of what you said, and one of the things that I resonate with is that sense of urgency to share, right? Like I mentioned in the beginning, and really, yeah, how can I compile what I learned in school and everything that I know that I think can be really helpful, and like what we do just in our daily lives, right?
Mm-hmm.
If
Yeah.
you're a practitioner, if you're a patient, if you have a patient mindset of your own therapies, you know, you're seemingly doing this stuff every day, right? Like,
yeah.
There's plenty of times where I've had pizza and, you know, whiskey for dinner. Right?
Be perfect. That's like the absolute worst.
Yeah. And, you know, but when we are in a balanced way, you know, how are we living? So I'd like to start with being really basic. So for people who are watching this, who are wondering, how can I keep myself healthy? How can I keep my immune system up? Thinking and bringing into the realization that most of us aren't going to be going to the store for at least the next few days, right? So what are some general things that people have in their house that they could use to give their immune system just a quick boost?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, the simplest thing is water. Like just up your water. Like that's something that hopefully is you have access to right now. And like try, if you've never tried it before, try drinking a gallon of water a day. Like a lot of people's first reactions to that when I tell them that normally is like, well, I'm gonna have to go to the bathroom a lot, right? And at this point, like that's not really an issue. You can go to the bathroom as many times. I mean, hopefully you have enough toilet paper also. But that is the easiest thing. I know some people have frozen veggies in their house. Maybe you can steam some of those. Another way, if you have the means, there are ways to order supplements that just get delivered right to your door, and I can help people out with a discount on those because I know that a lot of times they're a little pricier. I get a provider discount on some of those, so I can help people with that. But the number one thing I would say is water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so basic. And in the healthcare field, we hear about that all the time. And I've heard the gallon a day. I try. I really haven't been lately, but 3 of these guys, and this is, well, so this is something that I heard a while ago, and I maintain it, is half your weight in ounces, right?
Yeah.
Is that still kind of the standard?
Yeah, that's a good one to start. Usually that's under a gallon for most people. So I would say right now, like that would be a wonderful place to start. If you're looking to kind of up it a little bit and you have some time, and even just like for me, if I can get to that gallon a day, yes, I feel like I'm hydrated, but also that's kind of like a win that I can kind of check off. Like, I did this thing. And there's something about that, like just acknowledging what you're doing for your health makes it even healthier. You know what I mean? Like there's that there's that little dopamine rush. There's that like I did this thing that was kind of hard actually, and I don't normally do, and I got to do it and I succeeded and I did something for my health, and it just you feel a little bit better after that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's a lot of keeping your immunity up is about how you think and how you feel. So I totally agree with checking that off the list. Does give your a rush in your system of those feel good hormones, right? Can you explain to our viewers why water? Why the hell does that matter?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, we're made of a lot of water. That's a big part. I don't know if you've ever heard, like in the nutrition community, they have this fun little phrase that the solution to pollution is dilution. So it's great if you're eating a lot of frozen food right now, or if you're eating some like pantry items, lots of pastas, whatever that you're not normally used to eating because that's what you have access to right now, that those like inflammatory responses that are going to happen from those foods will be dampened a lot by just flushing things out with water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I haven't heard that phrase. That's
Yeah.
very interesting. I'm not sure if I've thought of it that way. But yeah, that's very interesting. So I know a lot of people, when I suggest to drink water, there is a group out there that says, I don't like it. Like it's plain and it's boring, right? So do you have some suggestions that people can up the excitement of their water without, sugar, which is something else we can talk about?
Yeah. Okay, so normally I would say like squeeze a lemon or a lime in there. I know like who is gonna, but maybe you have in the back of your fridge somewhere, you have like a little lemon, that like lemon concentrate. We just Colin, my boyfriend, and I just recently moved, and I found like a little lemon concentrate in the back of my fridge. I'm like, well, I'm gonna hold on to this, just to kind of like jazz it up a little bit. There's also a lot of, again, like if you have the means and you'd like something to like be sent to your house, Nutridyne has these incredible like drink mixes that have a ton of antioxidants and essential vitamins, like a lot of anti-inflammatory properties in them as well. And so again, I can help people get those to their door. They're incredible and they taste delicious, and it's a great way to kind of like help you and to encourage you to drink more water.
Yeah. Did you say they were, I was writing some notes down. I missed what the Nutridyne stuff was. Is that flavor enhancements?
Yeah, it's called fruits and greens. So it's like a little
Sure. Yeah.
in the packet, or like a scooper. I'm sure, you've seen them.
Yeah.
And so they're flavored, but they also like have a ton of, they're like packed with nutrients.
Yes.
And you drink it and you feel like, yes, you got the vitamins and the nutrients, but then you also just feel like, hey, I did something good for myself.
Right. Yeah, totally. So let's spend the next few minutes talking about maybe highlighting 2 or 3 other things that you think of or that you're doing right now to keep your immunity up, whether it be you have it in the house, or maybe like you mentioned, you can order it, right? Or if need be, if you want to run to the store and grab some essential items.
Sure. Yeah, so mine have been like having vegetables. Like if you feel comfortable with it, like even just running to the store, like all the frozen pizzas are gone in the grocery stores, but the frozen vegetables are still there. So I got like frozen broccoli, frozen Brussels sprouts, frozen asparagus, and there's like different ways that you could do it. So like with the broccoli is the easiest thing. I just throw that in, like I have like a little steamer, like what do you call those, like a colander or something. Just throw it in that over like a pot of water and steam it, and then throw some like butter on it basically. Some of them, if you don't mind like microwaving, they're pretty easy to microwave too. So that would be the big one. And then even like kind of shifting away from nutrition, even just like doing a little exercise at home is huge too. I've been doing some yoga through the app Down Dog, but I want to like just like bringing it back to supporting our community. Tonight I'm going to check out. seen online Yes Yoga. It's YESS.
Oh, yes, I have.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So they have like some Zoom yoga, and I have been dying to check that out. So I think they have a 7:30 class tonight, so I'm gonna hop on. I think you can just pay like it's not even that much per class, like $10 per class or something, and hop on. And again, like that's not nutrition, but that's gonna fuel your body with just like a release of good hormones.
Yeah, I love that you brought up Yes Yoga and just that community in general of um, places, you know, that for meditation and yoga and exercise that can't be open right now because of everything that's going on, that so many of them are transitioning into a virtual realm, like both of us have, right? We're both doing sessions for patients online right now.
Yep.
And I've never been so grateful for the internet
Yeah,
ever. I
right.
mean, I hear so many of us saying that, even with all the irritation, you know,
Mhm.
with the internet and social media, now it's like our lifeline, and
Yeah.
so grateful for that. So yeah, I think there's going to be an area for show notes that I can write in everything Hannah's talking
Great.
about. So if you're feverishly, feverishly scribbling down notes,
Take your temper.
you, just like I am,
Mhm.
you can rest assured that I will catch what she's saying here. Okay, yeah. So water, veggies, these apps to help with keeping your body in motion. Let's spend some time. So we've been focusing on what to add, right? But a lot of wellness in my life is a focus on not necessarily what to add, but what to be mindful of keeping a distance from, right?
Mhm.
So when you're thinking of keeping a balanced plate or keeping a balanced mind and spirit, what are some things that I'm really working hard in my vocabulary to not say no, or
Okay, cool.
or things that, what is that called? I can't remember. Um, what are some things that you eliminate?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like one of those crazy, I don't want to call it a coincidence. I think it was deeper than that, like one of those accidental blessings. So in February, I decided I was going to do a dry March. Like I wasn't going to do any alcohol in March, and I was going going
Me
along.
too.
Really?
It
So
just happened.
that's
It
crazy.
just happened. I just started doing it for
That's
a few reasons, but that's for another day. In
next podcast or next
the
video.
next podcast, yeah.
Um, so it was, I was going along just fine, like March 10th, March 11th, and then like shit hit the fan. And I considered for a second, I was like, well, if there was any excuse to stop this, like this would maybe be a good excuse. But then I tried to reframe it in my mind as like, there was a reason why I decided to do this now. And there was a reason why this was the month that I picked and not January or like most people did or whatever. And just trying to realize that like I would probably be overdoing it with that right now. Like I would probably be like, I'm bored, I'm stressed, like this is the time where this is going to be happening. And for those people out there that are like using that, I totally get it. I totally like it. It's a nice way to calm down. But I would say like if there's a way to just kind of limit booze right now, like that would be, think about it as rationing. We don't know how long we're going to be in here. Like you don't know how long that bottle of vodka is going to have to last. So even just thinking about like I'm going to wait until 5 p.m. to have a drink, or I'm only going to have like 2 drinks or something like that. Like I think that would be a, a one that would be like really beneficial to try to limit a little bit.
I thank you so much for bringing that up, and thank you so much for being vulnerable.
Mhm.
That is alcohol and any numbing, and maybe you come on, well, we can talk about this offline, but
Sure.
this is a beautiful topic and I would love to explore this more
Yeah.
about numbing,
Mhm.
and how we are, how we're culturized to use certain things, and certain things are okay and certain things aren't, right? Like we feel fine talking about alcohol, but maybe ashamed to talk about, street drugs. A lot of people are shameful to talk about marijuana or, the hard stuff, cocaine and heroin, right? Like there's people get into, it's not necessarily the substance, right? I think addiction has a long ways to go in how we understand it, and coping mechanisms, right? But the alcohol, me too, I'm right there with you. That is my drug of choice, is whiskey, because I'm cheap and that's what my husband drinks. So I'll just have that around. I hate it, but I like the way it feels. And you hit the nail on the head. Well, it's not, maybe not put a nail on your nose, but you hit on the nose that it's a relaxing effect. And when we are going through something like this, it's a beautiful maybe paradox and a beautiful mirror that we're being shown is, the world is saying, okay, here, all of your wounds are going to be lifted to the surface right now. All of your, stressors and the things you fear the most are going to shine and come to light, because our mere existence, when we really get down to it, in my opinion, is what is being questioned right now. And, the universe is saying, are you going to notice your wounds? And are you going to look for the medicine? So just like you, about a month ago, I stopped drinking, a little over a month ago. And I've done it in the past on purpose, but this one just kind of happened because I went overboard. I went way overboard and I made myself sick. But I could get onto a tangent about that and I won't, but I just want to give that flavor and start sewing that thread in these videos is one of the things that I'm going to try to like nourish and bring to the surface, is being vulnerable and sharing our aches and pains and the things that we're struggling with, so we can have connection through this time, right? So we both hear you, Dr. Hannah, and I hear you. If you are still using alcohol, right, to take the edge off, it makes sense. We know what that feels like. We both do it, right? But we've chosen to take some time off and, give yourself a lot of space. If you're, I know with cigarette smoking, that's a big thing that people in the know are saying, now's a great time to stop, right? Now's a great time to stop smoking, to keep your lungs as healthy as possible, because we know COVID-19 really goes for the lungs in chronic or in severe cases. And we also understand that these people are using cigarettes, alcohol, whatever, because they're in pain. There's something that they're not ready to look at right now. And you can disagree with me all you want on that, and that's fine. This has been my own experience, right? And being a practitioner, this is what I've noticed in a lot of my clients. So if you have questions about that, you can reach out to me and start asking. If you do want to stop one of those habits, what do you replace it with, right? How do you do that? Especially now, most of us are going to be going to those numbing agents a lot because we're being shown a lot, and it's we don't like it, right? Okay, so moving on from the awesome topic of numbing, which I love, what are some other things that you are not ingesting, mind,
Sure.
body, spirit, or through your mouth?
Sure. I unfollowed some people. Just, there's just some things that I know a lot of people at this time can say, like, oh, look at all the negativity online, and I didn't want to be one of those people that was stressed out by the negative. Like, I still see it. It's still like people are afraid and panicking and sharing that, and I get that. But I've been trying to be like really intentional about like eliminating some of the, like, just unfollowing people, and which has left my feed with a lot more people like you, or even like the other people in our group that are just like jumping into action and saying, I have this resource for you, or like sharing other practitioners that they know of that they can think would be like helpful in this time, or like a local business that you can buy a gift card for right now to keep them open. And that has just filled me with like the beauty of humanity, like the beautiful side of humanity about how like we're in a crisis and this is how we choose to react. And it's been so much easier to wake up in the morning when I've been like able to focus on that and take away some of those more negative voices, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a beautiful point. It's not just about eliminating stuff from your food diet, but from your social media diet. What are you consuming on social media? Yeah, and I go back and forth between following people that irritate me for the purpose of using it as a like exercising my muscle, right? And seeing them as either like a clear or a smoky mirror, which is another awesome topic, which I have another guest that'll be coming on to talk about that, which basically means like, who are you like drawn towards, like just obsessively like wanting to watch and being like, oh my God, I want to be them, right? And it gets like so much to where you're like mimicking what they're doing on social media, right? Like reposting other things. Like the holistic psychologist is like so key for a lot of people, with a clear mirror of like, how did she get this many followers and she's so successful and she always has stuff to say, right? But that can get obsessive and disruptive to some people. So it's a question of when to lean in and when to lean back, right? That's a question of boundaries. That could be another topic to talk about later on. And then there's this smoky mirror concept of the people who you're like, ugh, I would never do that. I would never be like that. Ugh. You know, and it's almost like I mean, look at my face. It's like an itch, no, right? That's also a curious mirror of, that can be very therapeutic to look at our shadows in our lives. And when are we saturated with it and our nervous system is like, ooh, or like contracts like too much, right? Like, where is that boundary? I'm curious if you've experienced those expansions and contractions, and like, how do you do that dance with who do I follow? What movies do I watch? When am I Netflix and chilling?
Yeah, definitely right? A lot of that. So I don't have a good system for that right now. I think that's something I could do better at. I don't know. I'm following a lot of people in the health field, I think, for guidance, just to see like, I mean, I want to know what my peers are doing and I want to know why they're doing it. So that's been a lot of like what I choose to follow and not follow. And then some of it is just like, yeah, like to your point, like that cringy stuff that I would like, oh, I would never post this, but then try like getting curious about like, well, why am I still checking it? why
am I still looking? Why can't I look away?
Exactly. Yeah, so like a little bit of a mix of like how can I be nurtured, and then but part of it is like just the numbing too, like how many memes can I look at? Just kind of chill out.
Yeah, it's a dance that we all go through, and if you're feeling that dance, right, especially since so much of what we're doing right now is just staring on our phones and working on our computers and on the internet and watching like the next coolest thing on Netflix and like Goop. Have you watched Goop?
I haven't watched. I listened to the podcast, but I gotta watch it.
Oh, yeah. There's a podcast?
Oh, there's a podcast.
Oh shit, I didn't know that. You know what I'm doing tomorrow. Right. The show is, I binge watched that straight.
Okay.
Like one Saturday, and my husband was like in and out of like, what the fuck is this? And I was like, oh, but it's so cool. It's so cool. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, that that'll go on the resource. Actually, I didn't write that down. The resource list that the Google Doc. Goop is Gwyneth Paltrow's business that she's had for at least a decade now. And I'm not even quite sure what they do, but this documentary is about her and her staff exploring medicines other than modern. Let's call them that.
I like that.
Yeah.
You gotta write that name down.
What's that?
You gotta write that down. Medicines other than modern. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Super awesome. So check it out. It's on Netflix if you're looking for something to do. There was another piece in there. Oh, if you're feeling that back and forth dance, when I first started when it first started coming into my realization that there are some people that really irk the shit out of me on social media. And I wasn't ready yet to like, not go to battle, but like to sift that out. Like it wasn't I didn't have the capacity in my system right now to do that. So I had some really strict boundaries and I unfollowed. Right. So if that's where you are right now, that's okay. Right. Like big space to just check in and like, what am I consuming through my eyes and my brain that isn't serving me well right now. And knowing that, you know, clicking unfollow sometimes feels like a line in the sand. It feels like eternal. You can always refollow that person, right? When you feel like you're maybe ready to what Hannah said, like being interested, like, why am I so repulsed by this? You know, not ready to dig into it now, especially when we're in a crisis. But maybe when this is done with, I'm going to be interested in that. And, you know, and that's part of the medicine that some of you may be getting, right? Figuring out how to set those boundaries and knowing that it's okay to say yours, mine, not yours and mine, but, you know, a fluid boundary, right? So thank you for bringing up the social media aspect of consuming. I want to, before we go on to the last portion of my questions, I want to address the sugar and the inflammation deal. Like what the fuck is that? So many, inflammation is a big hype word right now. I don't know if hype word, a hype topic, right? Processed carbs and, you know, things to stave off inflammation like turmeric.
Yeah.
Right. So, did you say so good?
Yeah.
Oh, you like turmeric?
I love it. Yes.
Wow. Ooh, I'm not in that camp.
No.
So, you know, just kind of riff here. If you have any, you know, what percolates to your brain when you think of sugar?
Yeah, you're totally right. Like if you can limit it right now, like that, it just causes an inflammatory response in your body. Excess sugar, processed refined sugars, fructose, that kind of thing. But I guess what I just keep coming back to now is like that is absolutely 100% true. And if you're feeling like you're able to eliminate some of that, go for it. If right now, like that's what you have access to and that's what your family is consuming, give yourself a little grace during this time, I think. And do the things that you can to like drink the extra water, or if you want to try like the fruits and greens or something else to kind of flush that out. That's what I just keep coming back to is like, if you can eliminate it, please do. But if not, give yourself some grace right now.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that tidbit of giving yourself grace. Our society, really programs us in a way to think of success as being a straight line up, right? Like I'm going to get a little political and, you know, capitalism.
Yeah.
Always going, don't stop. Right. And we think of healing very much in that way. And when we do these diets or when we, you know, try eliminating things from our diet, we can get very strict with ourselves and essentially set ourselves up for disappointment, which just perpetuates the cycle. Right. So just like Dr. Hannah said, if you're used to sugar right now, just completely stopping it, you're going to give yourself another issue. You might pick up smoking or that bottle of wine that you had downstairs that you never touched. You might be more drawn towards, right? Because that's sugar too. So, right. Give yourself a lot of space for, you know, I think something very helpful is if you want to start eliminating the sugar, give yourself a filler, right? In my practice of eliminating whatever, I always add it with something else. Because if you take the sugar, the alcohol, the whatever away, you're left with a gaping hole. And whatever you were using, whatever you were numbing with that stuff, you know, with those substances is going to come to the surface and you're going to be like, this is too much. And then just go to the next nearest thing to stop it. Right. So, you know, do you have any ideas of what people could, if they're wanting to eliminate the sugar, but doing cold turkey is just so daunting? Like any ideas on what foods could help satiate the sweetness of the sugar?
Yeah. So the first thing that comes to mind is like healthy fats. That just kind of like satiates your body and kind of like can quell those cravings. So like, I mean, I'm a huge fan of butter. Like, I think you can put butter on damn near anything. So if you're trying to like eliminate some of those like sweets, refined sugars, but you're not quite ready to get rid of like carbs and breads and stuff, maybe like a piece of toast with some butter and jam on it. Like maybe you haven't touched that jam that's in your fridge for a while. Like then
It's like sticking to the drawer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you get like a little bit of something that's not like you're like, I'm not going to tell you to like eat a piece of broccoli instead of a candy bar. Like that's too much of a switch. So maybe even just like some butter toast with a little jelly on it, and hopefully that'll like the like fat of the butter will kind of satiate your appetite for a while. You'll get a little sugar in the jam, or even like honey is a good thing to put on there too. And I know there's like a lot of local honey producers in Minnesota, and now I'm like, I can't think of the names right now, and maybe I can like shoot you that information that you can like put down later. But like that would be a good way to support them right now, is to like order some honey to be delivered. And then you'll have a little bit of that sweetness that's not going to cause so much inflammation in your body.
Yes, I love that honey. Right. And local, support the honey makers.
And another good reason to do honey right now is we're coming up on allergy season for a lot of people. And I know that's going to be stressful for a lot of folks, because it's going to be like, I'm having all these symptoms that are related to COVID, and I don't know if it's allergies or if it's the virus. And if you consume honey that's from bees that are around your area, that pollinate with plants from around your area, that can actually help quell some of those allergy symptoms this time of year. So double bonus there.
Yes, I love that you mentioned the honey and the bonuses of honey. That's in Chinese medicine too. Honey is really good for tonifying the body. So it gives you it gives all your organs of that oomph and that like chicken soup for the soul kind of. And then it also, it's a coating, right? It's like, it's thick, and think about what it does in your mouth. It does the same thing in your throat. So if you are having a dry cough, or to stave off a dry cough, honey is really good for that. And I know modern medicine already has their pulse on that with like Ricola and then honey flavored, things to suck on. Really quick before I get into the questions that I messaged you, just a few, maybe spend a minute or two on why does inflammation even matter? Like, what the hell is that all about?
Yeah, so your body reacts to the inflammation. Your body's so smart, and it knows that like that inflammation is damaging it, and so it sends out like those repair molecules. And so like acute inflammation is really great. Like you sprain your ankle, you've got a super inflamed ankle, that's your body doing like tons of repair there, and that's exactly what you want it to do. What the issue is when inflammation becomes chronic and your body is always in that state of repair, it can't do the other things that it's supposed to do, like if there's a lot of inflammation in your gut, it's like constantly doing repairs there, and it can't focus on like stuff in the brain. That's why you'll get like brain fog during that time, or like muscle rebuilding and that kind of thing. So a little bit of inflammation is great. Long-term inflammation it's just really bogs down your body and uses up a lot of your energy that can't be used in other places, the places that would allow you to really thrive.
Yeah, and thank you so much for that. Tying in to currently with trying to keep our immune system up, my understanding is that if our body is inflamed, it's spending all that time kind of figuring out that area that's inflamed, right? Like you mentioned the gut. So many of us, especially in America, have an inflamed, intestinal tract. And when the body is noticing that and like doing overtime to just keep that balance, it is ignoring our immune system.
Yeah.
Right? Does that, yeah, okay. So
Totally.
that's why so many people, especially in the natural health field, say, you know, in order to keep you healthy, we got to get the inflammation down. And a lot of that has to do with right now, keeping the focus of the energy in your body on immunity, keeping that tip top shape, and ready to be on guard.
100%.
Okay. So what was that?
100%.
Yeah. Thank you for the confirmation. So now we're going to move into, we have roughly like, we might go a little bit past the hour. Can you do that? Are you okay? Maybe like 15 more minutes? Okay. So 3 questions I think I'm going to ask everybody that I interview are coming up next. And, you know, they may change a little bit, but what I came up with last night are these 3. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. Oh yeah, I already sent you these. You know these. Number 1 is, being that a lot of us are staying indoors right now, or at least social distancing, what are your favorite things to do? How do you find yourself spending your time right now?
Yeah, so it was excellent timing that I ordered this journal that's called My Morning Sidekick. So I've been like really trying to focus on my morning routine. I actually grabbed it here. So this journal.
Yeah,
here,
I'm writing that down.
Yeah,
okay.
So it gives like every day has like different insights and tips about like starting habits. So I've been trying to start my mornings the same way every time, even though like the rest of my day is kind of super random. So I'll start with a little yoga, a little meditation, a little journaling, drinking some water, and then like making coffee. That's like my morning routine right now. That's been super helpful. I also started a new book, and I know you're gonna like this one because I know you did this.
Is it Brene Brown?
Brene Brown.
It is Brene Brown. Yeah, is that Gifts of Imperfection?
Yep, that's the one. So just started that one. And again, like just something that's a little heartening is good for me right now. And I've been binging Netflix also.
Binging what?
Netflix also. Well, all of the shows. So like my number 1 recommendation for that is on Hulu, the show High Fidelity. It's like based off the movie from the 90s, and it's
yeah, right. So I don't think I've seen that, but I remember the title.
Zoe Kravitz is the one that stars in that, and she's incredible.
Making notes. Okay. Yeah, morning meditations. That's something that I love that you brought up. It's been a struggle for me. Try not to hit my nose with my hand.
No.
I'm so like, I've been so averse to it in the past because I just want to like get going, especially I go on and off with having morning anxiety, like even in daily life, like before COVID started, just upon opening my eyes, I'm just like struck with this fear that like everything is falling apart. And it's hard to break that cycle. So one of the things I too have started is a morning gratitude practice. So I have Insight Timer, which is it's on the resources sheet that you guys have. And it has a million different meditations in there. So gratitude is just one of the topics, but there's all of this stuff that you can just scroll through and find your topic and then have somebody guide you through meditation. So I've been doing that, coinciding with when I stopped drinking. Actually, it was the same day I started and stopped both. So it's been super helpful. And yeah, that morning meditation, like the way you start your day really paints a picture for how the rest of the day goes, right? One of my morning meditations that I listen to often, the guy says, if you start your day ungrounded, the rest of your day is likely to be ungrounded, right? If you start your day frazzled and don't give your nervous system a chance to woosah, then we just like snap. He says you plug yourself into social media before you plug yourself into the earth, or if you ever plug yourself into the earth. So I love that morning ritual, whatever it looks like to you, to simply take a few deep breaths, go for a walk, do yoga, spend 2 minutes listing everything you're grateful for, right? Like I have a dog right now and I have my husband, so I'm not isolated alone. right? Like my lungs are working. I don't have a pre-existing condition. I have my legs working right now. Like they're not broken. Like you can get into such specific things like that. So yes, I love that. Thank you so much for bringing that up. Number 2 is, and you tapped into it a little bit. Name some of your favorite resources right now. So like who specifically, if you can think of it, are you following on social media that doesn't give you the who?
Right.
Or, you know, books you mentioned, Gifts of Imperfection by Brene Brown. Anything come to mind?
Yeah, a lot of people from our group actually. So you and Kim Lovejoy, I've been following you guys. And gosh, let me just open real quick because I know like something will pop up that I'll see that I like. Cardi B popped up.
Hmm?
Cardi B was the first one that popped up when I
Oh.
looked up. Yes, yoga. That's another one. Oh, and I know you know her too, Amy Koretsky.
Oh yes, I know Amy Kretzky. I'm starting coaching with her in a few weeks via Zoom. It was already Zoom. So excited.
Oh, that's sweet. So yeah, those are a couple ones that have just been nice to like, you know, they're being real about what they're going through. Now it's not just like, hey, this is this content that I had planned a month ago that I'm just still gonna put out. They're still being like acknowledging what's happening for sure, but like in a way that's like giving credence to how hard it is, but then also like offering some hope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love the piece in there that you mentioned, people being real about this, right? So the talk on the street, before there was nobody on the street, for me, I was picking up a lot of, isn't it funny? Like I would have thought maybe 200 years ago they would talk like this, and now we're talking like this. Like it's crazy. I was hearing varying opinions about what's going on right now, and I was pulled towards the opinions that aren't of the popular opinion, and the only way I'm getting those opinions is through Instagram. Amy Kretzky is one of them who I follow that has a look on this that just shifts my entire paradigm and the way I'm looking at what's going on, to really take myself out of the, oh, I'm gonna get sick and my husband's gonna get it and our dog is gonna die and so are my parents, right? Like it's very easy to go like that. And to think this is horrible, and yes, this is not fun. We don't have to wrap it up into a pretty fucking bow, because it's not, you know, as is so many things in life. And what I'm getting from following people like Amy, and Portia Richardson is another one, is where is the medicine? What is the world showing us right now? What are the gifts we're getting from this, so we can use this and life as a mirror to see what do we have left to work on? What are the opportunities that are coming from this? And that's a thread that we're building throughout this whole manifesting love and light, is where is the medicine? And so yeah, following these people on social media has really helped me keep my feet on the ground and be grounded and get some more information other than Fox News or Channel 11 or something, which is really heavily focused on. There have been a few people on there that I'm like rooting for, and I never do that because Hannah and I talked about this before. I don't ever watch the news. I know I'm watching it like all the time. I was on the couch last night. They had on a I don't know what her credentials are, but she was talking about, oh, if you have anxiety during this time, this is on Channel 11, I think. What do you do to have anxiety? And I was like, oh, great. What are they going to tell this person to do? And she was so mindful in her approach. And I was just like sitting on the couch going, fuck right. Yeah, girl, keep talking. Who is this? I got to follow her. This is awesome. But it's so few and far between that I find on TV people talking about really being real during this time. Like shed the layers, like look deep within and what is this showing us? So thank you for bringing that up. Okay, we might actually end it within about 60 minutes. The last one is more, this is maybe a little bit more fragile and deep. So, you know, take a few breaths and speak to whatever comes up and whatever you feel safe to share. what are you learning from this experience? What's coming up for Hannah? And maybe what are some wounds or triggers that you're noticing, and to set the ground, and to be in this with you too. I'll start with telling you, and I already have shared a few things that I'm learning. I'm seeing most of my lessons in my wounds, the wounds that are coming up. So scarcity, but people were hoarding. I tell this to everybody, and it's so funny. I laugh every time. People were hoarding toilet paper. I was like, what the fuck are they doing that for? Here, I'm hoarding chicken. Frozen chicken is where my mind goes. Or like, I'm gonna be, and I started that like a week and a half ago. If I'm gonna be locked up for a few weeks, I want food, right? So I have like protein drinks for months. So we're pretty good with that, but that's gonna get boring. So frozen chicken, right? So it's this scarcity, like understanding that there's a fear there of not having enough money, not having enough health, not having enough food, toilet paper, pasta, like whatever we're hoarding can really show us, if we take some time to look at it, can really show us what our deep wounds are and where we can tend to, what part of us still needs to be nurtured, right? My knee-jerk reactions to what other people's response is, right? Some people are on the scale of being, dismissive about this and saying this is going to blow over and this is blown way out of proportion, right? Not that that's right or wrong. It just is, right? That can really trigger me. And then the other way can also really trigger me of like, we're all going to die and this is the end of the world. And they started quarantining a month ago, right? And everybody in between, and noticing when I shift back and forth, and when I had conversations with people before, to notice, just be like, whew, I'm being triggered right now. I mean, I wouldn't say this to them, some people, but most I wouldn't, just noticing where my triggers are and where I start to go, I want to run away, I don't want to talk about this, right? And softening into the triggers and realizing that there is no right or wrong. I truly don't believe that exists. I don't believe should or shouldn't exist. I believe everybody has their own opinion and their own experience, their own patterns, their own wounds, right? So being very curious about what those are for me. And instead of in life before COVID-19, it was very easy to just say, I'm not going to dive into that, right? This person really triggers me and I'm going to stay away, right? Where now we have some time to think, okay, this person really triggers me, and why? I'm a big believer that whenever we're triggered, it's not about the other person, it's about us, right? Or when we're having conversations with somebody else, if somebody gets angry at you, it's not about you, it's about them, right? So taking some time to look at myself and to see, okay, who is really pissing me off right now? Okay, now what is that telling me about me, right? So those are a few things that I'm learning.
Yeah.
I'll hand it over to you to share.
Yeah. So some of the wounds that have been coming up, or like things that I've had to learn from, for me, it's been scarcity. Even before this, it was scarcity around money. I am like moving on from sharing a space with another chiropractor into my own space. Like that's supposed to happen April 1st. And it's been a lot of like fear of, I'm not going to have money to pay my rent there, and I'm going to have to everything's going to be fucked, basically. Or like, I'm never going to pay off my student loans, blah, blah, blah. And so like, that's been coming up more like, well, now really, how am I going to make it? And just trying to remind myself, like, I'm going to be fine. Like, life is bigger than that. And each of these struggles is going to teach me something that when we come through this, and when we are at a place where like things are more stable, like, gosh, I just keep going back to like, this is going to be a badge of honor that all of us healers and all of us business owners, like, we're going to say at the end of this that like, we got through this, and we are going to be so much smarter than we were before this. And we're going to be so much more agile and being able to like change with the needs of our patients at the end of this. And like, really just trying to, like, I feel like so many people that like I am a customer of, like they're just trying to love on their customers right now, or their clients or whatever. Like now's the time to just show them that they're being thought of and cared for, and they're like still in the forefront of your mind. I don't know. I know that at the end of this, we're not going to be the same people. At the end of this, we're going to be different, and just trying to remember like how exciting that's going to be when that's over, and we're going to have all of these new tools, and we're going to be so much stronger. Just trying to hold on to that, and that's what I've been trying to learn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. I am right there with you. That is a big thing of how I am seeing this situation as being one of the biggest balms or medicine to put on our wounds is what nuggets what beautiful gold nuggets are we going to get out of this for having lived through it? And that's, before, think about, you and I are talking about this, and we're well versed in going through these things, and struggles in life, and using it as a tool, right? Where's the medicine? Where is the medicine? Where is the medicine? Even in your deepest, darkest days, where the fuck is that goddamn medicine? Right? And I wholeheartedly believe that's what life on this planet, in life on this planet is about. Is that's how we grow, and that's how we evolve, awaken. That's how we grow as human beings. And for people that haven't been exposed to that way of thinking, now think of all the other people that are going to start waking up now. People who didn't have many struggles in their lives and opportunity to really look life in the face. They didn't have many obvious mirrors. They weren't looking for them, because they weren't ready. I believe that the universe is saying, okay, well, here you go. It doesn't matter if you're ready or not. This is what's happening. Go on the roller coaster, kicking you off and saying, bye-bye. We'll see you when it's done. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you so much for being on here.
Thank you.
This has been full of way more juicy tidbits than I ever was imagining for this first call. And I really am happy that it was you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. So the last thing that we'll end with is how can folks reach you, especially right now, if they are drawn towards you right now, if you are being a clear mirror to people and they're like, who is this Hannah? I need to work with her. How can they do that?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram. I'm at Dakota Chiro Clinic, at Dakota Chiro Clinic. That's the name of my website too, is dakotachiroclinic.com. And if you feel like you want to bring a little health into your life right now via a Zoom call like this, you can book a telehealth session with me. So there's two different kinds. We can either talk about a nutrition issue that you're having. I'll listen, and then at the end give a recommendation of something we can send straight to your door. Maybe it's a supplement, maybe it's a shake, something like that. And then the second kind is a movement-based one. So maybe you have been sitting on the couch a little bit longer, or like trying to work from home and having aches and pains. We can talk about an exercise. I'll demonstrate it over video. I'll have you demonstrate it to make sure that you understand it, and we can follow up after that. So those are only $20 for 15 minutes.
Yes, I love it. Hannah's one of the, as we touched on before, one of the practitioners that's going virtual.
Ooh, yeah.
I'll have these in the show notes. I talk as if I really know what those are. I'll figure it out. But really quickly, can you just spell out for people what your Instagram tag is, what your Facebook tag is, what's your website, and the best way to reach you?
Yeah, best way to reach me, let's say Instagram. Shoot me a DM on Instagram. I'm on there quite a bit lately. So it's Dakota Chiro Clinic. So DakotaChiroclinic at Dakota Chiro Clinic. You can get to my website from there. In my link tree, you can book a session with me there. And that's the same for my website, DakotaChiroClinic, spelled the same way.com.
Nice, super easy. That's what my business is too. Everything's the same. Acupuncture with Rachel, acupuncture with Rachel, acupuncture with Rachel. Yeah. All right. A big thanks to Hannah for jumping on here and just giving us some love and light, helping us manifest the goodness of what's coming of this situation. And thank you everybody for listening, for hanging in there with us. This has basically been 60 minutes. So much love to everybody on here. Reach out to either of us with any questions or concerns. We love you all, and we will see you soon. I'm gonna close this off and then I'll say goodbye to you, Hannah,
Okay.
without recording. Okay, bye everyone.